In this grammar podlet, we're going to look at the imperfect tense.
The imperfect tense is relatively easy to conjugate. That means to form. However, it can sometimes be difficult to know when to use it. Let's look at the four main applications of the imperfect tense as well as how to conjugate it.
The imperfect tense is used to describe what you used to do. For example, the sentence,
Cuando era niña, comía mucho helado.
which means, when I was a child, I used to eat a lot of ice cream. The imperfect tense is also used to describe a habitual or repeated action that took place in the past. For example, the sentence,
Cuando estuvimos de vacaciones en Tenerife el año pasado, íbamos a la piscina todos los días.
This means, when we were on holiday in Tenerife last year, we went to the pool every day. The words every day tell us that it was a repeated action in the past. This is what indicates that you should use the imperfect tense.
The imperfect tense can also be used to describe a background action. The two most common uses of the imperfect in this sense are used to describe the weather and to describe what there was or there were. For example, you might say,
Hacía calor y había mucha gente en la playa.
This means it was hot and there were a lot of people on the beach. Finally, the imperfect tense can be used to describe how things or people looked or were. You might say,
El hotel era muy bonito. Estaba cerca de la playa, tenía 2 piscinas y era de 5 estrellas.
This means the hotel was very nice, it was near the beach, it had 2 pools, and it was 5-star.
Now that we've looked at when to use the imperfect tense, let's look at how to conjugate it. The process is quite simple, though you have to remember the new endings. First, you remove the infinitive ending. This will be ar, or ir for regular verbs. After this, you add the new ending to the stem, depending upon what the infinitive ended with.
If the infinitive was an ar verb, you remove the ar and replace it with the following endings. Each ending depends on the subject, which we'll mention in Spanish but show alongside the English for ease.
If the subject is yo, the ending is aba. If the subject is tú, the ending is abas. If the subject is usted, él o ella, the ending is aba. If the subject is nosotros, the ending is habamos. If the subject is vosotros, the ending is habáis. And if the subject is ustedes, ellos o ellas, the ending is haban.
If the infinitive was an er or ir verb, remove the last 2 letters to leave the stem. Fortunately, both of these types of verbs share the same conditional ending. We have.
If the subject is yo, the ending is ia. If the subject is tú, the ending is ias. If the subject is usted, él o ella, the ending is ia. If the subject is nosotros, the ending is íamos. If the subject is vosotros, the ending is iáis. If the subject is ustedes, ellos o ellas, the ending is ian.
We leave it there for conjugating the imperfect tense. Buena suerte.